We're back for another Web3 rundown, Joe. Tons of news happening every single week, and you find it here with us. Joe, how you doing? How was your weekend?
It was good. Markets are looking good, so excited.
Yeah, it was an interesting time for sure. We had some geopolitical issues, Iran, Israel. Uh, Essentially, they were close to starting a war, and that's never a good thing for markets. What's interesting, Joe, is that I was expecting a bigger pullback with Bitcoin with this Iran-Israeli news. I mean, we're hearing the word war out there. And you hear the word nuclear weapons, you get a little bit nervous. But we actually saw a bigger pullback in the price of Bitcoin when Elon and Trump were disagreeing on Twitter. We got to about $100,000 in Bitcoin. And with this, the obviously the conflict with Iran and Israel, we did dip to about $103,000 Bitcoin. I just find it funny that the Elon Trump news caused a bigger pullback.
Yeah, very interesting news. And I'm a bit surprised that we rebounded so quickly. Yeah, exciting to see that though.
Yeah, let's jump in and take a look at the prices. And we did have a pretty nice rebound. So this is Israeli Iran conflict, not something that we really always like to dive that deep into because we talk about crypto, but this directly can impact financial markets. And we did see a pretty big pullback when this was escalating over the weekend or really on Friday and Saturday to about $103,000 Bitcoin. And we've bounced back in the majors really nicely. As you can see, 108,000 Bitcoin, Ethereum over 2,600, Solana 157. Some pretty strong numbers, if you ask me, especially when you start hearing war and conflicts in the Middle East. The markets don't like uncertainty. But personally, it feels like Bitcoin is finding higher lows. It's shaking off some of this news.
Yeah, my friends were on a weekend messaging me saying, "Oh, I'm gonna long Solana here." I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on in the markets?" So that's how we know the trenches are alive and they have liquidity and things are running when my soul buddies are longing, on a degen chain. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that we're not getting such a nasty correction with any sort of headline. Bitcoin is kind of becoming its own self here, independent a lot of these just headlines at the end of the day. The big difference between crypto and other financial markets is crypto's 24/7, 7 days a week. So it can be extremely reactive. And it just feels like Bitcoin is becoming shallower and shallower. And a lot of that has to do with all these companies that are talking about adding Bitcoin to their treasury, adding it to their stockpile. We're seeing big inflows still some pretty nice green days. I mean, on the 13th, kind of when a lot of this was kicking off, we still saw $300 million of inflows into Bitcoin. Jumping over, looking at Ethereum, we've talked about in every rundown how it's been just a sea of green for Ethereum, but we do see finally the first red day. And this was the 13th, so just a few days ago, and probably had a lot to do with this geopolitical stuff that's going on. But down 2 million, still looking pretty strong though.
That's you. Did you take out 2 million from Ethereum? That's so little. That's you. That's your wallet right there.
Yeah, yeah, I wish that would be a nice chunk to pull out from any account, but it looks pretty strong, to be completely honest with you. When we heard the word tariff a couple weeks ago, the markets would correct 20-30%. We were all scared. Just the fear and greed meter was at an all-time low. We've rebounded. It really does feel like every day I wake up and it's GameStop is investing more money into Bitcoin. Michael Saylor right now talking with Pakistan to help them create a strategic reserve. We have several other major companies. I think Metaplanet is adding another 10,000 Bitcoin to their allotted amount. So we're just seeing more companies, more treasuries, more countries and states adding to their crypto portfolio. We're seeing the SEC talking about Sol integration and how we're going to more likely get a Sol ETF sooner rather than later. Just bullish news. And it finally feels like the timeline has hushed down a little bit, less panic, and the market's just chugging along.
Yeah, and if the unlock of liquidity comes when, the SEC allows people to do DeFi stuff with their ETFs, that'll be a lot of liquidity moving into alt markets, meme coins, because everyone could deploy the sailor strategy at that point. That'll be very interesting. Not recommend, not financial advice. Uh, yeah, let's go over to some. Trump. We have to talk about Trump all the time because he's a headline man, and he's also involved with crypto. So Trump reports more than $600 million in income from crypto, golf, and licensing fees. I knew who made money, but this is he's getting up there. That's a lot of money he's making. He doesn't need money. Famously said that he's the most powerful man in the world. So what's the point? But guess what? That doesn't stop their family from chugging along. They want more money. 600 million is not enough. They want to launch a phone. So they're gonna launch an actual hardware phone, supposedly all manufactured in the US. And the article talks about how, no one has done that as of today, but they're touting that. We imagine that because this is launched by his sons, it's probably got ties with World Liberty Financial. And there probably some crypto stuff there because they took Magic Eden's announcement of the Trump wallet out, probably because of this, right? So there's definitely going to be crypto implications or activations with this phone. And last thing about Trump before I kick it over you, because we have a whole Trump segment, is none other than Justin's son, who, made friends with the Trump family, is one of the largest holders of the Trump family's tokens. And so he's not going to be investigated anymore. SEC pauses his fraud probe. And definitely fishy, but smart move, I guess. Nothing that I would encourage, but that's what happens when you're friends with the most powerful family in the world. So give us your hot take on all those news I just mentioned about Trump.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Donald and his sons are absolutely trying to capitalize on the Trump name as much as possible as while he's the sitting U.S. president. The Trump phone's super interesting. I think you nailed it, Joe. I didn't even really think about it when you brought it up until now, is that integrating it with a crypto wallet. No doubt about it. That's going to be similar to probably the Solana phone and other crypto wallet phones that have come out. I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen. So I'm actually going to keep a close eye on that personally. But one thing that's definitely obvious right now is that the Trump family, Donald Trump, Eric Trump, every crypto headline, it feels like they're associated with crypto in some form or fashion. And that's really great right now for our bags, especially for guys like you and I who believe that crypto need to be in the limelight more, needs more attention. Obviously, I want the price to go up. I want people to be embrace crypto, not just because it's going to make people who hold crypto more wealthy, because I really do believe blockchain and crypto are going to change our world. It already has. But it does make me a little nervous personally how integrated the Trump family is. I mean, what was it? $600 million in profit in crypto, golf, and miscellaneous licenses. I'd imagine a majority of that, or a good portion of that, is with crypto. And then you talk here, Justin's son, who becomes the largest Trump meme coin holder, goes to the dinner. Now all of a sudden, Tron's getting an IPO, and Eric Trump is essentially attached to the hip of Justin's son, and the fraud charges, miraculously go out the window. I'm no judgment either way. I have no idea the workings of those cases, but it does make me slightly nervous that, and we've talked about this on the show before, where I don't want Democrats to sour on crypto because the Trump family's so integrated with crypto. Because it could be just easy, like, look how much that family profited. Look how much Trump profited off of crypto, and kind of give crypto a black eye. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm just kind of looking at both sides of it here. Is I love to see the most powerful man and family in the world embracing crypto, regulating it, doing right things. But there is a part of me that's like, everything that launches has an Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. attached to it. So kind of what are your thoughts there? Am I being too cautious? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know who's buying the phone and his NFTs or I bought his meme coin because I wanted to ride the roller coaster up, but he definitely has a loyal base that he's looking to capitalize on. So I mean, I think there's a place for everyone. There was even a place for Tron. I mean, I gotta ask you this: did you get on a Tron train back in 2017? My friends did. They came up, and I was like, nah, this guy's a fraud. But I was like, dang, I wish I made some money.
I never got into Tron. I had a good friend of mine who made six figures in Tron. It seemed like a fortune back then because crypto was so newish to him, and he just scored. But I never got in on it. I don't just something about it never was really attracted to me. I don't even know enough to form a really strong opinion because I I hear two different sides of it. I hear people who absolutely despise Justin Sun and Tron, then I hear the pro argument. I've never been interested enough to dive deep to see what they're really building.
Right, same. Maybe that's why they get along. He's Son's kind of like the Trump of the crypto world. Before, Trump came into crypto, he just famously pumped a coin, forked a coin and made a bunch of money, ran away. But he's still in the headlines every year, right? It's like Trump. You can't get rid of him. He's always there talking. He buys the invisible banana, and he's just in the headlines. And now he's doing stuff. And yeah, I don't know enough, but yeah, there's a place for them, and there's a place for other networks that are actually doing things. Because I don't know anyone doing things on Tron.
Here's the real question. Does SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and CZ, and can't even really think of anybody else off the top of my head. Did they cash in on jail too early? Do they kind of wish that they just kind of rode it out as long? I don't think they even had that option, but kind of did they go to jail too early for their crypto crimes? Because if they just hung in there a little bit longer, who knows? Maybe they could have
Yeah.
had a bidding war for the Trump meme coin and gotten the charge dropped. I'm obviously
Right.
joking, but maybe not.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some truth there. All right, let's talk about actual companies doing actual stuff. Well, not that Trump's companies aren't, but ones that we know and love. Coinbase. I mean, you just got a Gemini credit card, but Coinbase have partnered up with Amex, 4% Bitcoin back. Maybe you made the better decision, Brian, because not everyone takes Amex, right? What does Gemini use? Is it Visa or Master? You just got a Gemini cashback Bitcoin card.
Yeah, it's a Visa Mastercard. It does give something similar, like 4% cash back paid in Bitcoin on certain purchases. I have to look at it again. And, it's a tiered reward system. This Coinbase card, if this is just a 4% flat Bitcoin back on all purchases, I think I picked the wrong card. Or I
Hey,
know.
you could get both.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I've been actually been pretty happy with my Gemini card up until this point. It's not an Amex, so it's a Visa Mastercard. But it was the big reason why I chose them as a credit card. I was like, yes, I use credit cards. Yes, I love Bitcoin. You're gonna reward me in Bitcoin by using my credit card? Deal. And I couldn't have signed up fast enough.
Yeah, and what Coinbase does is they engraved the Genesis block. I think this is a Genesis Bitcoin block. Whoever cares about that on there, very interesting for Coinbase. But Coinbase is on news for a lot of things. They're actually doing a lot of things. They're adding Sonic. We talked about Sonic as one of the biggest farming opportunities of this year, and it still is. They're launching rewards this month, I believe, and we talk about that with our community. Coinbase has also launched a DEX. They're integrating their DEX with their mobile wallet. So Base is their L2 on Ethereum and famously launched by Coinbase itself. And now you can utilize their DEX to do perps and future contracts and things like that. So they're doing a lot of different things with Base. And then the biggest DEX on Base is Aerodrome. And they've integrated Aerodrome. So if you want to boost in your, airdrop from Airdrome, basically on your voting rights, you just utilize Airdrome on base, and yeah, you get some extra boost with that. We'll probably dive that with our community also, and all things look to be good, doing good for base. They're inching back up to the all-time high, making lower low 261. Man, I wish I got some here. But anyways, what's your thoughts on Coinbase overall and their foothold and some splashes that they're making?
Well, if you're part of the private community, you absolutely know I'm a huge Arrow fan. I personally, not financial advice, need to disclose that. I have a big bag of Arrow and been a big fan of it because the big reason thesis behind Arrow in my mind, and we've talked about this with our community, give a little bit more insight, is that Base does not have its own token, and really the more activity that comes over to Base, we've been just waiting for an integration with Coinbase. I mean, that was just something we've been talking about forever. When's this going to integrate? So to see that happen makes me even more bullish on Arrow. I think it's up a pretty decent amount, like 20-30% off of
Oh,
this news. Still not to its all-time high, but again, no financial advice. Do your own research out there, but it still feels underpriced to me because if you want base tokens, there's other dexes out there, but Arrow is the main one. So it's like buying the Arrow token in my eyes is like getting great exposure to the entire base ecosystem, its integration with Coinbase and everything they have planned. No brainer. Coinbase credit card, we all know that I'm going to be exploring that. And then we have there was some other news. What was the other news about Coinbase? At the end of the day, it's just they have made three or four announcements last week that were huge, in my opinion. Probably took years of work to actually get things up into play, and they just information dumped us on a Thursday or Friday. So hats off to Coinbase. They're making it happen.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of, work to get normies on to onboard the masses, and they're doing the heavy lifting. They took a lot of the headwind, I would say. We were talking about that for other companies to just jump on their backs, you know. So kudos to Coinbase. We like them. Reach out to us for a sponsorship. Last piece of macro news for everyone here is a Shopify integration with Phantom Wallet. So you can shop with USDC on Base, might I add. So it's Base again. We're seeing a lot of news for Base. We seem to be liking our Base news, and Phantom, famously was a Solana only platform, but they've since, done Ethereum and Base. So yeah, Base, we've been making some Base calls on within our private community. A lot of finance stuff popping off there that's doing really well, AI agent wise, and meme coins I made a call on last week. I still have strong belief there. So love to see all this news on Base.
Yeah, it's killer news out there, man. Base is going to be a winner this cycle, in my opinion.
Yep, yep. Let's kick it over to some meme coins. What you think?
Yeah, you want me to share it up?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Let's jump in, take a look at meme coins. I always feel like my head's in the way of the coins I want to talk about. But, they're pretty flat right now, to be completely honest with you. I mean, over the past week, we're down anywhere between 3 and 5%. A lot of these major meme coins, I should say, like the Pepes, but a few out there, two of our favorites. Hopefully, I'll scan up a little bit so it's not blocking it. SPX 6900 and Fartcoin. Coinbase. They opened up perps and they opened up perps so you could do perps on Coinbase. In addition to that, you could also buy Fartcoin finally on Coinbase. So another two big piece of announcement, and the news has been very positive. Fartcoin up over 10% over the week. SPX 6900, probably one of the top Ethereum meme coins out there. Their whole tagline is that they're going to flip the S&P 500, SPX 6900. So anybody that held on to that, they hit an all-time high here. I think this is actually an all-time high, 1.6 billion market cap, some monster numbers. So the meme coin world is still alive. I think it's only going to continue to intensify as we continue to grow in the majors.
Yeah, meme coins is the headline. Definitely we're seeing another narrative pop, which is brand coins, which we know and love. And there is Base tried to do their social content coin, but yeah, things are still moving, and definitely on certain chains they have more activity than the other, like we saw with Ethereum and then now Base. So Ethereum making kind of a comeback since Ethereum's scratching 3,000. I know you said this is Ethereum's last hurrah, but I'm in on the ride. I bought some Ethereum. I bought some more meme coins this last week on Base, so I'm excited to see where that goes. SPX 6900 though, man, I know they're got some crazy holders, but they're the only ones to reach all-time high in this
Yeah.
last mini cycle. So kudos to you guys, and yeah, you guys deserve it because you guys been through this ride a couple of times.
I mean,
Is there any? Yeah,
we have to like Pepe and Mog too, right? It's like no, I don't even want to call Pepe a beta play, but it's sitting at a 4.7 market cap, billion-dollar market cap. It just I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's only a handful of Ethereum memes out there that can really do some damage in this upcoming bull run. SPX 6900 is not a surprise to me, but kind of off the top of my head, I feel like how is Sheeb? We talk about this on every rundown. How is Sheeb still $7 billion market cap and almost double of what Pepe is?
right. Crazy times. Should we hop on over to AI or straight into NFTs?
Yeah, well, why don't we talk a little bit about AI here? I will share my screen. And it's a down slightly. AI is down slightly in crypto, the AI crypto world. That meta is should still be alive and turning, but it loses a lot of attention because we're an instant satisfaction world here. There's a lot of companies out there building really cool integrated AI crypto projects. I still believe that some of these projects are going to be some of the biggest winners in this entire space. We're big fans of virtuals, and that's sitting at like a $1.3 billion market cap. There's a lot of other smaller coins out there that have major potential. They list Farcoin as an AI coin still here on Cookie and even
Hmm.
on CoinMarketCap. Even though it was originally derived from there, I think we can safely move Farcoin over to the full-time meme category. But
Yeah.
there's some really cool AI projects out there. But it's sitting right around $10 billion market cap. Nothing crazy. Been about that way over the past couple weeks. There's just not a lot of action over here right now, Joe. And I wish there was because some of these projects are building some really cool stuff. Cookie, the platform we're on right now, is kind of red in mind share and a little bit red, but Rec Guy, we talk about Rec Coin a lot. They have Rec Guy NFT. They label that as an AI coin. There's a lot of like cross pollination between these sectors. I think the AI crypto space is going to be one that still continues to thrive, but right now it's chopping. I don't know if I don't know if I fell on a few $1,000s to just kind of degen into. I'm not sure if I would degen into in the AI crypto world or try to pick some of these pure memes. What are your thoughts?
Definitely would give it to an AI agent to find better yields. I mean, we've done that with Wayfinder AI, and then with Mamo on base, they are just looking for best stable yields. It's not even, like crazy loop leverage that degens do. They're just going to find you anywhere from 8% to 18%, which is a lot more than traditional finance. So I definitely don't mind deploying some of those that's been vetted, with good CEOs, which we look at those also. We don't only look at meme coins and AI coins, but ones that are, has product and integrating with actual stuff. So yeah, definitely a time to be testing now. I wouldn't have said that before, like, hey, let's give AI agents some money. But now with further integrations from Coinbase and like I mentioned, the base AI agents, if they integrate some of those, I imagine that's what happened with Mammo. One of our calls from a while back, it's still up. I mean, versus a lot of things, because Brian Armstrong was like, "Hey, I downloaded your wallet, how to utilize it." Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, what if he integrates that agent with the Coinbase wallet, which is integrated DEXs already, right? It's like, oh, find me the best yield. Perfect. That's kind of what Marinade does with our with Solana, right? Get the best yields on Solana. And we had him as a guest on our podcast, the Marinade guys. So yeah, I'm interested in testing. I am already testing on a lot of DeFi yields and getting good returns. So I want better returns. That's all I'm looking for here, and we'd like to share that with you guys. Let's share some. Go ahead. Sorry,
Oh,
Brian.
I was just gonna say one of the big winners is one that we've talked about in our private community. It's been some past calls was that Tibber Ribbit backwards, but it's Tibber on virtual and its connection to Ribbit and the crypto. You got to check out the newsletter if you really want to see the whole deep dive. But I was just gonna say that chart is just a beautiful grind up. It just got to an all-time high today of $130 million, and that's a virtual platform coin. So out of all the AI coins here, it does feel like virtuals is pulling away as the top dog.
Yeah, virtual is definitely doing some big things. Let's go on to the NFT side of the world, and we have to talk about Rec Drinks because they were an NFT mint, a free NFT mint, might I add. Now they're hitting stores at 7-Eleven. And we were just talking about this before we jumped on the pod. I mean, the rundown is that how can we be in this industry for so long and had not native Web3 companies hit mainstream yet? Rect it seems to be the only one besides, Pudgy Penguins. Of course, there's like artwork, right? But that's a little bit different in integrating with retail. So this is very interesting. They're hitting 7-Elevens. They did an integration with Jupe and they sold out. And I like to say like 30 minutes. Jupiter is a DEX, so they did an integration with Jupe. They did an integration with OpenSea that sold out. They did an integration with Abstract that sold out. And look, you scroll up here, they say something's brewing in LA. It's in a few days. I don't know what this is, but it could be something big. We know they have a lot of stuff in the works. So this is what we're talking about, brand coins, and it's all derived from the NFT. And of course, the NFT is holding a lot of value also. Before I kick it over to you, Brian, I just gotta shout out Pudgy because I did mention them as like one of the few doing, real world integrations. And you can't get more real world than this. They're teaming up with an airline company to give out miles and more. So if you ever buy anything within the Pudgy ecosystem, you get miles. So if you fly, I messaged them right away. I was like, hey, when United, when Delta, when Southwest. But this is a crazy integration because it's just free stuff. Like you're already spending money, you might as well get free miles for it. So that's a real world integration, which is, people laugh at it, but I'm a big miles guy. I'm a big airplane miles guy. Not only that, they teamed up with NASCAR. This is not just like, I mean, sure, this could be just like a an ad of sorts, but I imagine Pudgy doing something deeper because they don't just do fluffy integration. So they're doing stuff with NASCAR, they're doing stuff with airlines. They already got, the Walmarts, the Amazons, the Targets. So not too many, it's not too hard to stand out. I mean, there's only two that's really integrated. I'm surprised that there's not more. Love what these two NFT companies have started and where they are now.
The Pudgy Penguins news is right up your alley. Joe loves points, everyone. Like, absolutely
Yeah.
loves it. I learned all about credit card points from Joe. So whenever I saw that announcement, I was like, man, this is Joe's two loves, the Pudgy Penguins and any sort of credit card or airline points. In regards to just kind of these two companies, they feel like they're leading the pack in these brand coins, making it become web mainstream, integrating Web3 into Web2, kind of what we hoped the Nikes of the world were going to be able to do, but they didn't have the vision, they didn't have the plan to make it happen. So hats off to Luca, hats off to Ovi for both of these huge announcements. I think that Rec guy, the 19th through the 21st, or whatever that is, I think that's an in-person meetup in LA. I think they're doing something in-person meetup I read, and there's going to be a celebration for that 7-Eleven because the 7-Elevens in California, or at least in LA, are going to be the first stores to get wrecked
Uh,
drinks. So I have a feeling there's something you need to go to it. That's what Joe lives in
Take a
California. It's
plane.
not close. Yeah, it's not close at all. But it's like someone telling me to go to like southern New Mexico. But you need to go to it and check it out. I don't know. Awesome stuff. I think Rec is going to continue to grow. It's one of our best calls as of recently to our private community. We're both a holder of it. We're both go wild for their drops. So just really exciting stuff. And it goes to show you that a lot of these NFT companies, with the right vision, with the right idea, they could make a lot of cool things happen. And both Rect and Pudgy did some interesting things. One, Joe, we talked about, they integrated utilizing a meme coin. And both of them did it very successfully. So exciting stuff by both teams.
Yeah, and last news on the world of NFTs is that there's some big, well, there was one big sale that happened that blew everyone out of the water. $500,000 for a Meebit. Meebit's not like, I mean, I would call it a blue chip back in 2021, but who's spending $500,000 on a Meebit? Well, someone is, and that could be kind of like the renaissance of this time, which is just companies that are looking to integrate and do more things because Meebits got divested by Larva Labs. I mean, sorry, not Larva Labs. It was divested by the Ape guys. Is it Larva Labs? I'm getting confused
La
here.
yeah, Larva Lab. It's a Larva Labs project, second to like the CryptoPunks, but then they sold all their IP, CryptoPunks, Meebits, over to Yuga Labs, in which Yuga Labs most recently sold it to Sergio, who's kind of
Ah,
reviving the Meebits. And this is Adam Weissman, who's kind of known in the industry. I mean, this is a ton of money to spend on an NFT, but he's
yeah,
known in the industry for buying like these super rare NFTs. I think he has like a laser eye bored ape. He has a whole bunch of
yeah.
codas. He's known, so he's a believer in NFTs. $500,000 for Meebit seems outrageous, but I don't know. We'll see. We might be saying that now, and it'd be worth five times that. Who knows? It could turn into something. That is the most rare Meebit in the whole collection.
Yeah, interesting to see. Well, I'm still crushing it in the NBA Top Shot world in terms of NFTs. Like, it's just like free money. So you want to learn how to capitalize on that and enjoy it during at the same time. Let us know down in the comment section. But that's all I have for today. If you guys want to follow us, we have amazing market updates for you guys, amazing guests on a weekly basis, rundowns like this, and we kind of go where no one wants to go. And we're excited to bring all that alpha into you guys. So make sure you guys follow us.